So, lads, Sophie Cunningham showed that she is, the old Caitlin Clark enforcer. She is the Caitlin Clark enforcer. That has been shown. She is the enforcer that the Fever have needed for the last year, and she has responded. She has responded, and obviously not responded in the media, but I did not even realize. Like, this is, by the way, this is what she posted as soon as it happened. This is in the locker room. This is before the game ended. Before the game ended. She comes out in the locker room and posts this. Like, what are we doing? And guys, if you guys don't know, like, this is what happened with Sophie Cunningham. So Sophie Cunningham, like, she went and got revenge. Sophie Cunningham, JC Sheldon's driving to the basket. Sophie Cunningham takes her down. Normal enough take foul. Lindsay Allen gets her by the neck. Then JC Sheldon goes at her, and Sophie Cunningham, by the way, Sophie Cunningham, if she wanted to, it looked like Sophie Cunningham was about to throw some knees at her. Like, she had her in an MMA hold. Like, Sophie Cunningham could have got this MMA fight ended. She could have got this fight ended quickly. Like, in this scenario, like, there's no question about it. This fight could have ended quickly. Like, you don't put yourself in that position without expecting some knees. But at the end of the day, look, it is revenge from this happening. So JC Sheldon gets Caitlin Clark in the eye, then belly bumps Caitlin, and then Marina Mabrey, as she's walking away, knocks her on her ass. And look, best possible response, just a picture of her shrugging her shoulders. Because look, that is what Sophie Cunningham is. That is what Sophie Cunningham is. Sophie Cunningham is an enforcer. They didn't like, people weren't saying she was the enforcer for no reason. People weren't saying that. Like, the enforcer's job is to make sure that nobody messes with her. And at the end of the day, look, we're probably going to talk more about this on stream, but at the end of the day, this was, like, realistically, it's what's happened. Like, it's how things are meant to go. Like, people just want enforcers. People want enforcers, but at the end of the day, people are going to celebrate enforcers when enforcers are enforcers. And it's funny that she got celebrated for doing all this. She got celebrated for all this in Phoenix, by the way. She got celebrated for this type of things. Because, she's Diana Taurasi's protege. Oh, yeah, Diana Taurasi, like, taught her well. Like, and then, by the way, as soon as she joins the Indiana Fever, she got suplexed in her first game. And the same people celebrating her being suplexed are calling for her to be kicked out of the league. And at the end of the day, it is, like, it's basketball. And this is the referee's fault at the end of the day. Like, it is the referee's fault. Because this does not happen if the referee just stops this early. If the referee chucks Marina Mabrey when that happens. If the referee chucks JC Sheldon when she clawed Caitlin Clark in the face. None of this happens. If JC Sheldon's not on the floor, if JC Sheldon's not on the floor, if, like, Marina Mabrey is in the change room where she should have been, heck, you can even make the argument that Caitlin Clark should have been chucked. I think it was a dumb argument to be made, but I'm seeing people make the argument that Caitlin should have been, reasonable people saying Caitlin should have been chucked before that for 2 technical fouls, but I'm sorry, if you chuck Caitlin Clark for 2 technical fouls, then, like, for 2 for retaliation, then you've basically, it's a Dublin Diarmuid Connolly incident. Basically, different sport, Gaelic football. There was a hothead who played for Dublin GA, one of the best players in the world at Gaelic football. And teams used to literally just go out of their way. They would target Diarmuid Connolly with 3-4 different players to get in his head. And he would retaliate towards different players so that 2 guys would pick up yellow cards. But he would get 2 yellow cards for retaliating and get sent off. Like, it was a tactic to try to do that. And if the WNBA referees are teeing up, are as quick as trigger happy teeing up Caitlin. It is now going to be a thing. We can rough her up. We can get in her head. We can shove her, and the refs aren't going to call it. And then when she retaliates, it's going to be a tech. But yeah, Sophie Cunningham has just shown that if you are going to do something to Caitlin, it's not going to be free anymore. It's not going to be free. Caitlin's not the one standing up for herself, because no offense, like, I would take JC Sheldon in a fight over Caitlin Clark. Because at the end of the day, JC Sheldon has nothing to lose. JC Sheldon can take a 5-game suspension. It makes no difference. She can take a 5-game suspension. But at the end of the day, it's like, Sophie Cunningham is in a situation where she can take a 5-game suspension. She can take a 5-game suspension for the greater good of the team. Just like Charles Oakley could. Just like Bill Laimbeer could with Isaiah Thomas. Like, these people all have the ability to be enforcers. Just like Draymond can take a suspension to make sure people don't mess with Steph. And look, I do love the Instagram response with just the shrug. But it's just a mad thing. It's just a mad situation. And look, I mean this. Teams are going to have to think twice about messing with Caitlin Clark again. Teams are going to have to think twice, because, by the way, if people think Sophie Cunningham's the only player in the Fever that's going to do something like this, there are players in the Fever that will take someone out. Maybe not in as obvious a way. But there are players on the Fever team that will knock someone on their ass. Not named Sophie Cunningham. Again, not to this extent. Not taking somebody down and getting them in a freaking Muay Thai clinch and look like she's like contemplating whether or not she's going to throw up some knees to end the fight soon. When that would have been a suspension, but like, Sophie Cunningham would have won this fight in 25 seconds if the two of them had fought. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, you probably shouldn't fight with Caitlin Clark. You probably shouldn't try fight with Sophie Cunningham. And I remember saying this, I was like, players aren't dumb enough to fight with Sophie Cunningham. Everyone's like, oh, Sophie Cunningham's soft. Look at what Kat Copper did to her. And I'm like, I wouldn't want to fight with Kat Copper either. I wouldn't want to fight with Copper either. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And when it comes to the Indiana Fever, they've got their enforcer now. And I don't think anyone is going to question that. So anyway, I'll see you guys.